Hi folks, well I'm back on video again, not a fishing video for obvious reasons, or obvious if you watch my last update, but I was messing about on my website this week, and I've got a website, bobgoesfishing.uk, and I was updating things and just tidying up a bit, and it just occurred to me that I published a website a fair time ago when I had far fewer subscribers and far fewer people watching the channel. So it occurred to me perhaps it's a good idea just to remind people that there is also a website for Bob Goes Fishing. The home page when you sort of first get to the website is basically a diary. It's like a blog, a diary. And it's got details of my fishing trips going back to 2003. The older ones obviously with just photos and text, whereas the more recent ones since late in 2019 include the videos that I post on YouTube. So you can actually watch the videos also on the website, and there's a bit more information on the website, and there's a written report for each trip. So I thought it would be a good idea to just remind people and actually point out to some people who didn't already know that there is a website that goes with Bob Goes Fishing. I'll put a link below this video, obviously. There are other things on the website. There's a page which shows my sort of fish I've caught, my personal bests if you like, and the venues I fish, and there's a little bit of information about me, but there's also a page for the book that I published back in 2021, I think it was. The book's called Bob Goes Fishing as well, no surprise there, and I did sell a few copies of it, not a lot, but and I had a few reviews which were very, very positive, and I got some very positive reviews from people in the family and other people I knew, and once again I thought it would be a good idea to just remind people and obviously people who didn't realise there was a book, that one is available. Now, back when I launched it, I did a video which is on the YouTube channel, and I watched it again yesterday, and all of what I said is still very current. So rather than rattling on now and going all through it again, what I'm going to do is, after I finish this little introduction, I'm going to add on that original video. I've edited it to take out some of the stuff that was only pertinent back then. So it's just the stuff you need to know about the book. Just to show you while you're on the book, Bob Goes Fishing, it's in paperback. It's also available as an ebook, published through Amazon. All that's explained in the next video that I'm going to show you. The only thing that isn't mentioned in the next video is that I actually, at the time I published the book, you couldn't do it in hardback, but subsequently Amazon did provide the facility to publish in hardback, and I bought myself a few copies for family and that, because hardback books always seem a little bit more impressive than paperbacks. Obviously it's a bit more expensive. The paper quality is somewhat better than in the paperback, and as there's quite a lot of photographs in the book, they render somewhat better in the hardback, but I'm not suggesting anyone forks out for the hardback unless they have a particular desire to own a hardback book. The best option for most people is to go for the ebook, which I think is £1.70. You can play it on, I mention all this again in the video that's coming, but you can play it on an iPad, on a phone. You need the Kindle app to play it, but you can also play on computers by downloading the Kindle app. So that's the cheapest way of reading the book if you want to read it. And being an electronic copy, the actual photographs render better on the ebook than they do in the printed version. because the printed books are, at the end of the day, just plain paper, which isn't the best for reproducing photographs. So I won't go on anymore. I'll now move into the video I recorded back in 2021, and that explains a lot more about the book. And as I say, if you're interested, I think it's quite a good read if you're interested in reading about people going fishing. There's no instruction in it. It's not an instruction book. It's just about going fishing, where I went from when I was a youngster right up until when I published the book in 2021. So that's it. Let's have a look at the video edited that I first published back in 2021. Well, hi again. Today, something very different. I'd like to talk about a book, and in fact, not any old book. It's my book, Bob Goes Fishing. It's a bit philosophical because I started fishing, as I say, 60 years ago, and things were quite a lot different in those days. And much of the way I think about fishing was actually formed in those days. And when I came back to it in my late 50s, things had changed quite a lot. And at first I tried to sort of join in with that change. I bought tackle, I tried techniques that had been mentioned in magazines and what have you. And obviously I fished a commercial lake, something that didn't exist when I was a kid. And that was fine, and I enjoyed it. I caught good fish, fish that I'd never even dreamed of as a child, and yeah, it was fine. But after a while, I started to find it all a little bit artificial. Not to say it was that easy to catch fish in the commercial, but it was certainly a lot easier to catch decent fish than it had been as a child or as a youngster, because in those days I fished rivers, mainly the Thames, and it was really quite challenging. So I got to the point where I took a step back and reconsidered what fishing meant to me and what I wanted to do in the way of fishing. And I decided to go back to river fishing. Obviously still fishing lakes occasionally, particularly in the close season. But I decided to go back to river fishing because it basically offered more of a challenge, and it offered a bit more mystery, it offered a bit more uncertainty. And I did fish rivers while I was fishing the commercial. It wasn't as if I just fished the commercial. I did go back to rivers fairly soon after I got back into fishing, but I decided to swing the pendulum a lot more that way, and the book really describes my thoughts and feelings on that, and my opinions that some people might share, other people probably won't, and some people might find rather odd. In fact, at the beginning of the book, I expressed the view perhaps I am an oddity in today's world of fishing. Well, that's the background to the book. I found it quite easy to write, really. A lot less easy to proofread and check. It's amazing when you write things how you read over your own mistakes, and I wouldn't guarantee there aren't still a few little glitches in there. But anyway, it's now been published. I published it through Amazon, where you can self-publish books, and to be honest, it's quite easy to do, and it's obviously not expensive to do because there's no charge for publishing a book, unlike if you tried to go to a publisher. In fact, if you went to a publisher, first of all, you would have to get them to accept the manuscript, which I probably wouldn't succeed because there are a lot of fishing books out there. So Amazon self-publishing was the way to go. I had done it once before, so I sort of knew the ropes. And it's now up there on Amazon. I've tried to keep it as cheap as possible within the pricing structure in Amazon, because it's a global marketplace, and each marketplace has a minimum price for a book based on the size of the book, the production cost, and the market. So that sort of sets the minimum price, and it's worked out at £5.25 for the paperback, and it runs to let me see, it runs to about 180 pages, so it's a fair sized book. And I've also produced what they call a Kindle copy, but it's better to call it really an ebook, because you have to be a bit careful when you say Kindle. The true Kindle, the Kindle devices, you cannot read this book on a true Kindle device, because Kindle devices are really designed for novels and all text, whereas this book's got a lot of photographs in it. So you buy it as an ebook, and you can read it on the what do they call them? The Fire tablets, the Amazon Fire tablets, which are not so much Kindles as tablets like iPads. And you can also read it on an iPad, an iPhone, an Android phone, an Android tablet by downloading the Kindle app. The Kindle price is £1.70, and that's a bit more than I wanted to make it. But the reason it's a bit more is because there are quite a few photographs in it, which makes the file quite large. It's over 40 megabytes. So you wouldn't want to download it on a 3G connection on your phone. You want to be on a decent Wi-Fi. But because it's quite a large file, that seems to influence the cost, or the minimum cost of the Kindle. £1.70, it's hopefully not too expensive. In some ways, the Kindle way, or the Kindle approach, is better for you, because if you view the book on an iPad with a high resolution screen, or an Android device, similar device, the photographs are far better quality than in the paperback, because in the paperback the photographs have been reproduced on plain paper, which really isn't the best way. That's why in a lot of paperbacks you have inserts of glossy paper in the middle with the photographs, but there's no such option when you produce an Amazon book, so you just have to go with it. The comparison between the iPad and the paperback can be seen in this photograph I took, which, being a photograph, isn't an exact representation of the two views, the iPad and the paperback, but it gives you an idea. There's obviously a lot more clarity and sharpness on the iPad. So if you want the cheap option, go for the £1.70 iPad. If, like me, you like to have a bit of paper in your hand when you read books, because I'm a bit old-fashioned, and then the paperback, certainly the photographs are clear enough to see what they're showing, but they're not as crisp, obviously. If you are interested in reading the book, then I've included a link in the description below this video to take you to the Amazon page, where you can buy either the paperback or the ebook. I like reading books, especially books about fishing, rather than books that instruct you. There's really no instruction in this book to speak of. It's just about me going fishing, what I call my experiences. There is, because I've started doing this vlogging, or videoing back in September, I did, as a sort of a chapter at the end, I added a chapter on photographing fish and doing videos of yourself fishing, because although it could be argued I haven't got a great deal of experience with the videoing, having only done it for 6 months or so, I have found out quite a lot in that 6 months. And as for photography, I've been taking photographs for as long as I can remember, even before I started fishing at 13. So I did include a chapter with some tips that I'm offering for people who want to who want to photograph their fish or video their fishing trips. But other than that, as I say, it's not a fish. It's not a book of instruction. It's a book about me going fishing. And the final chapter, in fact, is the reflection, if you like, of where I am, how I feel at the moment, and yeah, that's basically it. So hope you read it and hope you enjoy it. Let me know. And it's bye for now.